Good morning to all. So, in the last class, we have seen the multimeters, different types of multimeters, in which we have the ohm meter, ammeter, and voltmeter. So we can construct all the three voltmeter, ammeter, and ohm meters in a single meter. So it is nothing but a multimeter, and the only difference is having a circuitry. So, and the common point is having a basic meter. The movement of the meter or PMMC meter or basic meter is the same, and the difference is the circuitry of each one. So, and after that we are discussed about thermo instruments. So these thermo instruments regarding to measure the current. So whether it is DC or AC current. Okay. So the basic mechanism is the hardware mechanism we are discussing. So in this the main concept is so whenever when the current is flowing through a wire, so it produces some heat. Okay, so that heat is proportional to the applied amount of the current. Okay, so that change of the variation of the temperature regarding to the variation of the current. So that will be identified by using some pointer mechanism. Okay, so this mechanism is having some disadvantages. So lagging and so some instrumental errors will be occurs in this mechanism. So that's why this mechanism nowadays is not used. So to get the accurate and highly sensitive type of the instrument, highly type of instruments, we can use the thermocouple ammeter. So in this thermocouple ammeter, we mainly use a thermocouple. So thermocouple is a transducer which senses the temperature and converts the thermal form of energy into the electrical form of energy. So here the electrical form of energy is nothing but the voltage, and the input is for the thermocouple is a heat or temperature in the form of temperature. So when this is the circuit, A and B is the circuit. When the current is flowing through this A and B circuit, the current అనేది ఈ A and B circuit ద్వారా flow అవుతుంది. So we have to మనం ఏంటంటే ఈ సర్క్యూట్ ద్వారా కరెంట్ మనం మెజర్ చేయాలి. సో మెజర్ చేయాలంటే కరెంట్ ఈస్ when the current is flowing, this wire will get heated. So because some depending upon the its wire's nature. Okay, so when the high current is flowing, so it will be heated up to certain amount of the current. If the high current is came, in such situation the wire will be burned, just like our fuse wire. Okay, like that. So the materials which are used in the circuit having certain nature that it can be withstand up to certain amount of the current only. So after that the wire will be burned. Okay, so until that limit, so it will have certain heat will be produced while flowing the current through the wire. It will produces some heat. So that heat corresponds to the amount of the current is flowing through the wire. So that's why the thermocouple is used to measure the the obtained heat from the wire. Okay, here thermocouple is nothing but it is a thermocouple is nothing but basically it is a two dissimilar metals are joined. So when two dissimilar metals are joined, and we will form a two junctions, junction 1 and junction 2. If two junctions are maintained at different temperatures, when the when two junctions are maintained at the different temperatures, we will get the output at other end. Suppose junction 1 is placed the temperature where we have to measure. Junction 1 is placed where we have to measure the temperature. Suppose this is the point of E. So here we have to measure the temperature through the wire, the heat which is produced through the wire. So the other junction is this one. So the other junction will be having a temperature which is lower than this hot junction. So there is a temperature difference between these two junctions, between the terminals and the other junction. So then there is a EMF will be induced in the thermocouple. So that induced EMF or voltage will be measured by using basic meter. So this basic meter will represents the amount of the voltage will be produced, and this voltage is proportional to amount of the heat produced in the near the wire. Okay, and this heat is proportional to amount of the current is applied. Current is flowing through the wire. So the value which is indicated in the permanent magnet moving coil instrument is relating to the applied amount of the current. So like this we can use this thermocouple type of the ammeter. So why it is RF ammeter means, so we can also use this instrument to measure in the radio frequency range also. So for the radio frequency range, so for the range what happens, the frequency is very high. So above it, around megahertz frequency also we can measure. So that's why this particular instrument can be called as RF ammeter also, because we can measure in the range of megahertz frequency of the signal. The signal is having a megahertz range of frequency, and that signal of the current also we can measure using this thermocouple type of the ammeter. So that's why we can call it as a RF ammeter, radio frequency ammeter. So here another one is compensated thermocouple type ammeter. So this is compensated thermocouple type ammeter means, so while measuring, so here the heat will be at the point of E, the heat is due to the applied amount of the current, but due to some external temperatures also there is a change in the voltage. So that variation can be also affects the value which is measured here. The value which is measured, so that is should be from the applied current only, but due to external temperature variations, so that temperature is also affects the joints of these thermocouple endpoints. This is C point and D point. In the previous figure we have, these are the C and D. These are connected in this manner. Actually there is no connection was shown in the figure. So there is a connection with the C, and here also we have a connection. Okay, so like this, here again this is the thermocouple metal, and this is another joint metal. Some copper wire is joined. With the copper wire we are joined from the meter to thermocouple one metal. Okay, so again this will form a junction. This will form a junction. So because this is metal and this is also metal, so this forms a junction. So by the some external temperature, so there is voltage will be produced. And similarly, this is the metal, and this joint wire or copper wire is connected to this metal, and this will forms another junction. And due to that, what happens? Here also we can get the voltage. So, but here we have the voltage which is produced at E only, we have to show in the meter. The voltage which is produced at E only we have to represent in the meter. But due to external temperature, so this points C and D also becomes as junctions, and due to that there is some generation of the voltage. So here with this closed circuit, we have the voltage produced at C, the voltage produced at E, the voltage produced at D, and these three voltages are added, and by that the generated voltage will be changes, and that generated voltage is a wrong value because it is involves three voltages. Okay, and so to reduce those effects, to reduce or compensate those effects of the temperature by these junctions are also attached to the circuit diagram. That is shown in the next figure. See here. So in this case, the junction points which are also connected to the circuit diagram, circuit diagram physically not connected, but thermally connected. Physically not, there is no connection between this circuit and this circuit, but thermally contact we have. So if there is any variation, so that variation will be suppose the whatever the variation in the atmospheric temperature, that will be reflects here only. Same thermal effect will be affects here. Suppose when the current is flowing here, the heat will be generated. That same heat will be also applies to this junction here also. Okay, so due to that we will get the these two voltages will be compensated here in this case. Okay, and we will get only the voltage which is produced at E only. Okay, so whatever the potentials which are generated due to the external temperature, so that will be nullified while joining C and D points to the actual circuit only. ఇక్కడ C and D points మనం ఏం చేస్తాం అంటే యాక్చువల్ సర్క్యూట్ లైన్ కి అటాచ్ చేస్తాం, కానీ ఫిజికల్ గా కనెక్ట్ చేయకుండా థర్మల్ గా కాంటాక్ట్ చేసి దాన్ని మనం we can maintain constant temperature here. ఇక్కడ ఎంత టెంపరేచర్ ఉంటుందో ఇక్కడ అంత టెంపరేచర్ ఉంటుంది అన్నమాట. So when the equal temperatures are there, so the produced voltage is the same. If there is any difference in the temperature, then the voltage will be produces. But these points are also attached to the same potential, same temperature. These points are connected at the same temperature maintenance. We are maintaining the same temperature, so that's why the potential at these points is the same. So there is no variation. So like this we can obtain the potential which is proportional to the amount of the current flowing through the wire. Okay, so like this we can use the compensated thermocouple type ammeter. Okay, so with this we can conclude the first unit. So in the first unit we have discussed about the different parameters, performance characteristics of measuring instrument. So measuring instruments are having measuring instruments should have performance characteristics. So they should perform certain characteristics like static characteristics and dynamic characteristics. The static characteristics are like accuracy, precision, resolution, error, resolution, linearity, and these are some of the static characteristics. And coming to dynamic characteristics, so dynamic characteristics are dynamic error, fidelity. Okay, so here the dynamic castings are castings which are obtained while the measuring variable is changing. While we are measuring the variable, so that variable is changing with respect to time. In such situation, we can obtain the dynamic characteristics. Whereas in static characteristics, we will get when the variable is not changing, it is constant, or it the variable which is moving slowly, changing slowly. So in such situation, we can obtain the static characteristics. Okay. So with this static characteristics and dynamic characteristics, we can analyze uh, with that analyze the performance of the obtained output. And similarly, errors, dynamic errors, the errors of the instrument while measuring the parameters or variables. So there are some errors will be there. So those errors are, you can say it is systematic error, instrumental errors, dynamic errors. Okay, like this we have observation errors. Okay, so like that we have dynamic errors. And coming to so voltmeters. So in the voltmeters we have the basic meter, and from that basic meter we will construct the DC voltmeters, AC voltmeters, ohm meters. Okay, and from that um, by using a series resistor or multiplier is connected in series with the basic meter, we will get the DC voltmeter. By connecting a shunt resistance in parallel with the basic meter, will get the ammeter, and ohm meter will be obtained by connecting a voltage source and a resistor in series with the meter. Okay, like that we can get the ohm meters, DC voltmeters, DC ammeters. And similarly, by connecting a rectifier circuit before the DC meter, we will get the AC voltmeters. AC voltmeters is obtained by connecting a half wave rectifier or full wave rectifier to the DC meters. We can measure the AC voltage. And here we have thermocouple type of the ammeter. So this thermocouple type of ammeter can be used to measure the AC current also. DC current and AC current, both we can measure. Okay, and in ohm meters we have two types of ohm meters: series type and shunt type of ohm meter. So while combining these three, voltmeter, DC voltmeter, AC voltmeter, ammeter, and ohm meter, so we will get the multimeter. So nowadays most of the cases use the digital multimeters are using. So in that digital multimeter, we will get the digital representation of the value. So we will get the digital values. So with that representation, we can recover the signal with without any parallax errors. So the main advantage of the digital representation is we can get the information without any parallax error. So whereas in analog meters we have a parallax errors. Okay, by observing a human being. Okay, so coming to digital meters, digital multimeter, ohm meter. You can say it is a volt ohm meters, VOM meters. And with this, the first unit we were covered. And coming to unit 2. So in the unit 2, the first one is signal generators. The first one is signal generators. The first concept is signal generators, and signal generators, function generators, head wave analyzers, distortion analyzers, spectral analyzers. Like that, we have different instruments. So first of all, we have to see the signal generators. So what are the signal generators? Generally, we required in measuring to analyze the circuit diagram. So that we will see. So this is the signal generators. So signal generators have the following applications. What is the necessity to study? Why we have to study the signal generators? So these are used to check the different gains at different stages. So in a given circuit diagram, so whether we have to check the gain and to know the frequency response of different stages. So in electronic circuitry or in PCB, so we have different types of circuits. So depending upon the application, so those circuit diagrams, in that circuit diagram we have to measure or we have to obtain the response. So to know the frequency response, we can apply the signal generators. So by applying the signal, different types of signals, so that signals will be applied to the circuit diagram, and the circuit diagram will produce the output depending upon the what are the components which are presented in the circuit. Those circuit will develop produces the output. When comparing the output and input, so we will get the frequency response. So that is the measurement we can see in control systems. That is Bode plot frequency response, magnitude and phase angle. So those like that we can analyze the frequency response of the given circuit diagram. And similarly, alignment in the receivers. Alignment in the receivers. Suppose in the satellite applications, we have a remote sensing centers. In our India, we have National Remote Sensing Center in Hyderabad. So there, the scientists which are working there, so they will receive the signal. So actually, the receiving signal station is present at Shadnagar. From Hyderabad, it is around 50 kilometers. There is a village that is Shadnagar. So there these scientists were constructed receiving station. There they will be use a big antennas, and from those big antennas they will receive the signal whenever the satellites are rotating around the earth at that one particular period of time. The satellites will be moves over that particular station within a period of 50 minutes, like that only. So after that, the satellite will be goes that place. Okay, I means the satellites will be rotates continuously through around the earth. So whenever the satellites will be reaches at that particular point of receiving station, which is presented at Shadnagar near Hyderabad, so they have to receive the signal. So satellites will sense the signal. What are the images that they are taken around the earth, and that images will be sent through some signal, and that signal should be captured. And in such situation, we have to arrange the antenna in particular direction to receive the signal in a given small amount of period of time. So it may be within 50 minutes we have to collect that signal. After that, the satellite will be moves this place. I mean, in the same direction, it will be rotates and moves over that particular place. And within that period of time, we have to arrange the receivers and we have to collect the signal. And for that purpose, we have to make the general signal generators. So we have to contact with the satellite, and from that satellite will sense the signal. Again, that signal will be, after the receiving signal, the satellite will be stops the producing signal. So like this, we have used the different signals while receiving the satellite information. So in such situation, we have to align the receivers. After receiving the signal, uh, we have to record and we have to analyze that will produces the what is the different types of signal, different changes which are recorded by the satellites. So that we will be analyzed. So in such situation, we can use the signal generators and in wide range of electronic equipments. So in the electronic devices also, we can use these signal generators. So to generate a variety of waveforms at low powers, in testing electron circuits, we can use these signal generators. So the basic components of the signal generators are oscillators and signal generators. The basically we can see oscillators and signal generators. These are the main components of the generation of the waveforms. The first one is oscillators. What is oscillator? Difference between oscillators and signal generators. Oscillator is an instrument that provides only a sinusoidal output signal. Generally, we can classify an instrument which produces the sine wave signal. So that will be considered as or used as an oscillator. So oscillator generates a signal with no energy is created. So it produces the output signal. So without any energy. Okay. And it converts the DC source into AC source of energy at some specific frequency. So it produces only fixed frequency. There is no variable frequency. Variable frequency is not possible. By using oscillator, we will get the fixed frequency value, fixed frequency waveform or fixed frequency output signal. Okay. Whereas coming to signal generator, signal generator is an electronic instrument that generates several output waveforms. So signal generator produces different forms of the waves. So that is sine wave, square wave, triangular wave, and pulse trains, and as well as amplitude modulated waveforms. So these waveforms with desired amplitude and frequency. So we can get these waveforms, or it will generate the waveforms with the desired amplitude and frequency, or what are the different types of different values of the amplitude with that amplitude, and also different frequencies we can get from signal generator. So signal generator produces the waveforms with desired amplitude and frequency in different forms of the waves. So generally we can consider sine wave, square wave, triangular wave, and train of pulses. And this is one of the signal generator. So I think you may seen in laboratory the signal generator. So generally these are for our laboratory purpose. For laboratory purpose, we can use the signal generators, especially for analyzing by applying the sine wave signal to a amplifier. What is the output response? They analyze input and output. So what is the gain variations? How the frequency response is changing. So in the lower range of frequencies, how the signal how the transistor is working in amplifier stage. See, suppose we have to measure the characteristics of a C amplifier. Okay, so like that we can analyze, we can use the signal generators for laboratory purposes, especially for laboratory purposes. And what are the requirements of signal generator? So we are saying that a signal generator. So that's every signal generator should have some requirements. So the frequency of the signal should be known and stable. The signal which is producing from the signal generator should have to know. So what is the value it is producing, voltage, and whether that frequency signal is stable or not. Okay, so that should be required, and the amplitude should be controllable from very small to relatively large values. The frequency and amplitude, and these are important parameters in a particular given waveform. So for a given waveform, amplitude is important and frequency is important. So frequency should be controllable. So suppose I want to produce a sine wave of 20 kilohertz. So that should be produced, and it should be stable. The frequency should be stable. The generated waveform should produce with 20 kilohertz of frequency, and it should be maintained the same frequency continuously. It should be maintained the same frequency continuously. So there is no change of frequency in between. So that's why the signal generator should have the main requirement. So what are the different waveforms it may produce, whether it is sine wave, pulse, square wave. So but the produced pulses should have these requirements. So frequency should be constant, and required frequency should be generated. The whatever requirement of the operator. So the generator should produce that amount of the frequency, and that should be stable. And similarly, the amplitude. So amplitude should be controllable. So we can vary the amplitude of the generated output signal. So we can able to change. Suppose I want to produce a 1 volt with a frequency of 20 kilohertz sine wave signal. So it should be able to vary the amplitude also. Very small to very large values. So it may be from very millivolts to we can very high, very 10 volts like that. So it can produce. Okay, and the third one is it should be distortion free. So there is no signals should be involved with the producer output signal. So there are different interference signals will be there. Okay, and distortion free. So it should be produced proper way, pure sine wave. Okay, so like that, these are some requirements. Who is number 435? Who is number 435? So there are oscillators and signal generators. So in addition to that, special generators are there. Special generators, and these are known as function generators. Function generators, and these are nothing but pulse generators, sweep generators. Okay, these are called as special generators. Special generators are function generators, pulse generators, and sweep generators. These are three are considered as special generators. So here does not the frequency or amplitude may be changes for the requirement of the operator. Okay, so that's why these function special generators may not be followed these requirements. Okay, so that's why these are called as special generators. Okay, so the most of the cases the required signal by the instrument is generated internally by a self-contained oscillator. Okay, so for the most of the instruments there is a self-contained oscillator. So that oscillator will be there, self-contained oscillator. It will produces the oscillations, and by that we will get the output. So generally, it will produces a fixed frequency of 1000 cycles per second. 1000 cycles per second of excitation source for an bridge. So for example, 1000 cycles per second. So it is a cycles per second is a frequency. Okay. So excitation source for an AC bridge. So it is fixed value. Okay. So a self-contained oscillator. Okay. And signal generators. So it generates only specific form of signals required by the instrument and produces audio frequency and radio frequency range of signals with continuous coverage over a wide range of frequencies. So a signal generators are produces audio frequency and radio frequency signals and which covers all the frequency ranges. It covers all the frequency ranges. Okay. In most of the cases, the required signal these are the different frequency range bands. So I think all of you know this. So audio frequency range, it is 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. RF, radio frequency range is above 30 kilohertz. VLF, very low frequency, so 15 to 100 kilohertz. Low frequency range is 100 to 500 kilohertz. Broadcast is 0.5 to 1.5 megahertz. Video range is DC to 5 megahertz. And high frequency is 1.5 megahertz to 30 megahertz. And VHF, very high frequency, is 30 megahertz to 300 megahertz. UHF, ultra high frequency, 300 megahertz to 3000 megahertz. Microwave, it is more than 3000 megahertz. More than 3000 megahertz will be considered as the microwave frequency range. So with this, we will conclude for today's session. So signal generators and oscillators. So for oscillators are produces the fixed frequency, whereas signal generators will produce the variable frequency, and different forms of waveforms can produce from signal generators, whereas oscillators will produce only sinusoidal signals. Signal generators may produce sine wave, square wave, triangular wave, and pulsar trains. So, and here we have different frequency